All right, so we're back in the kitchen again for another version of our cookies. We're going for some coconut oatmeal cookies. That was a recipe from my great aunt. She passed that down, oh gosh, I don't know, probably 30, 40 years for me. And it's just one of the ones we make probably, again, 3 or 4 times a year. It's one of my family's favorites. And so first of all, we're going to start with our dry in our wet ingredients. I've gone ahead and pre-measured some of the ingredients. I have 2 cups of flour. And in here we have a teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of baking soda. Now normally this would actually include some salt as well, but since I use salted butter for the cookies and it calls for a cup of it, I omit the salt in my recipe, but you can go ahead and put that in and that would call for a teaspoon as well. So that's kind of the dry for now. And in the mixer, I'm going to start off with 1 cup of sugar. That's regular granulated, as well as a cup of brown sugar that's been packed. And then I kind of just go ahead and start the mixing process. Let that go for a little bit. And to that, we're going to add 2 eggs and a cup of butter. So the butter is softened. It has been out, so it's definitely to temperature and nice and soft. And I'll go ahead and add that to the sugars now that they're blended. Now you can use oil instead of, or not oil, shortening instead of the butter. I prefer the butter because it's just a little bit more natural than the shortening would be. But it's all in your preference. And while that's mixing, I'll go ahead and get my eggs ready. Now again, I do my eggs separately just in case I get shells or in case an egg happens to not be something I want to use. And I'll give this a good scrape down. Okay, so now I'm going to add my eggs. Let that mix well again. And to this, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay, while that's actually mixing, I'm going to get my other ingredients ready. And that would be 1 cup of oatmeal and 2 cups of coconut, as well as of some chocolate chips. Okay, now that the egg is incorporated into the wet batter with the vanilla, I'll go ahead and give it 1 more scrape down, and I'm going to start adding the dry. Okay, now that the flour is mixed in, I'm going to go ahead and add the 1 cup of oatmeal and the 2 cups of coconut. It's kind of a little bit more, but I like my coconut. Go ahead and put that all in. And this is probably just less than a cup of chocolate chips. It calls for a half, but it doesn't hurt to have a little bit more. And while that's finishing up mixing, I'm going to get my trays ready. The cookie sheets I use are air bake pans. You can use any cookie sheet that you find works for you. The oven's going to be at 375 and the sheets are going to be ungreased. There's enough butter in there to actually help them not stick. And they are ready. And it's just a matter of taking a teaspoon and then putting them on the tray about 2 inches apart. Now this yields usually about 72 cookies, so it is a bigger batch of cookies. But again, we do make these throughout the year because they are so simple to make. There are a few more ingredients than I usually use in a batch of cookies, but they're definitely worth it. Okay, so once you have your trays ready to go, they're into the 375 oven for about 9 to 12 minutes. You'll have to keep an eye on them when they start to go brown. Okay, and since this is, I was going to say, kind of like TV world or video world, we can go ahead and fast forward to when these come out. So we'll see you in a few minutes and we'll be taking those out. Now with these, we're going to go ahead and we're going to let those sit for a minute or 2 just to get kind of settled and hardened a little bit. The other tray is going to go in for another 2 minutes. But you see how nice and golden brown those are. They're kind of like a chewy consistency too because of the oats and the coconut. And they have a really nice flavor. Now instead of the vanilla, if you wanted to like kind of change it up a little bit, you could actually use like a coconut flavoring, or you could use orange, so it would be kind of like with the orange and chocolate. So you can really this is where the versatility of this recipe is. Again, we're not professional bakers here. Some of the cookies are bigger, some of them are smaller. So it makes them homemade. They all taste good going in. Okay, there we are. There's another variety of cookie, the coconut oatmeal cookie. That was my great Aunt Lizette's recipe. I hope you enjoy them. If you try them out, please, if you can drop us a line, let us know what you think of them. And happy baking!